The next question is about mining and fracking in Northland. There is ongoing discussion and debate in Northland, and indeed the rest of the country, about the merits of mining as well as fracking in parts of New Zealand and along our coastline. Do you support mining and fracking in Northland? Tihira.
Carl. Simple. Manaki tia ta papa tuanuku ko tātou nā kai tiaki ne. It's really controversial, the oil and all the paru and all the tūkino that goes onto the land, but the $1 million question is what happens to it. The Māori Party supports any initiative that maintains integrity, the Māori of fresh water, whenua. We focus on the areas ai, ka whiwhi mahi engari, he pēhea rānei te pai o tērā mahi. Ko kei a mātou te Māori me te mana o te whenua, me nā whakaitanga ki te mahi. But at the end of the day, we were in support of the report against the fracking by the Commissioner of the Environment, e mea ana kia tūpato e tani whakai te haere.
Do I support mining and fracking in Northland? Fracking? No. No. Except, sorry, Honey, frack John Key. And I'll say this, you know, hey, we all need to do some mining. We all got metal eyelets in our shoes and that kind of thing. But the one thing that I learned, when you go fishing, you clean up your catch before you start catching some more. You don't leave it rotting in the sun. We've got out there, it's like that, it's rotting. We've got toxic water up in dams up there, and we haven't cleaned that up. I say, clean up that stuff before we start making more of a mess.
Just caught up in the fracking word, actually. When we get it, automatic moratorium on fracking. There is no evidence to suggest that there is any good in it for us, automatically. Whānau hapu sort of whakaro, so we're going back into Te Ao Māori sort of kaupapa. It's not for us over in Ngāti Pākau to say to Ngāti Hau that you should, you know, use your land for gold and give all your money to us. So the whakaro is this, that it should be up to the individual hapu whānau communities to decide whether mining is a benefit for their community. But this I do know, the $32 billion of mining that's already been given from consent from the Northland Regional Council, Whānau Council, from Omapere all the way to Hokianga. I haven't heard anyone agree there, from Utukura all the way through Waima, all the way down to Tāheke, down to Otaua. None of us have agreed. Ngāti Haua and the gold mining over there, the sign says it all. Pupoke, where they're looking at gold over there. I haven't heard Ngāti Kahu agree to that. And also with Te Rarawa over in Ahipara, and what they want to do is stand oil from the whakaro, from the whānaus and hapus that we do not wish to see mining in our rohe. We should turn to alternative gases. Kia ora.
Well, Green Party policy is probably predictable on this one. Yeah, so like Pui Pui's been targeted as a potential for gold mining, and there's lots of problems with that. And I think we should be really collective in our response about it, and that's why the tuna proposal of farming eels there and restoring that Hukarangi swamp area to a really beautiful habitat would be a cool thing, you know, and it'd be good for economic development in our area. As far as fracking, there's all sorts of problems with fracking. It really annoys me that Norway, which is probably the richest country in the world, wants to come here and mine off our coast to get themselves a little bit richer, and we won't stand to gain anything from that, really. I don't think the jobs are going to be here. They're going to be, you know, nuclear and off. You know, so fracking releases a lot of methane. You know, it's marginal fields and deep sea. This is a beautiful moana, eh? And we've got to look after it. So, party vote green. Have I said that before?
Gold mining is apparently the most dirty of mining there is, and what we have to do in New Zealand if we want to mine gold is to build dams to hold the arsenic sludge and runoff. Now sometime those dams, whether it's in 100 years or 1,000 years, are going to collapse. Everything downstream from Puhi Puhi will be killed. That goes right out to the Kaipara Harbour, where 98% of our snapper, West Coast snapper are born. On the other side of Puhi Puhi, it goes out to Taumarere, so that's all of the Bay of Islands gone. Just one quick point, I hope I've got time. I'm a descendant of Tōhere, who 90 Mile Beach was named after. He walked down that 90 Mile Beach naming places, went right out through Herekino, out over Hokianga and down and died actually on Bailey's Beach, Lipiro. As a descendant of the whala whose name is linked to the West Coast, I cannot in all conscience support any sort of mining or drilling off the West Coast there. As kaitiaki, I just cannot support it.
It's very simple. I can actually read you our policy. We want an immediate moratorium on all hydraulic fracking, land farming, deep sea exploration, undersea mining and deep well injection until there's been a chance to have a proper public debate and to act on that debate in Parliament. We also want to restore the right for the public to be able to protest against deep sea drilling. It's outrageous that that right is taken away from the public. We also want resource consents to be notifiable. So they've been made non-notifiable. People deserve to know if someone's going to start exploring in their back gardens, in their neighbourhood. People should be able to appeal against that. So that is our position. We want to be moving away from fossil fuels to 100% renewables by 2025 and phasing out our dependence on them. Resource extraction for the purpose of profit is short-termist, it's unimaginative, and it's green-based economics.
I think our policy is clear also, and I think part of this argument hinges on environmental safety and responsible development. Let's talk about fracking. Fracking has actually been in New Zealand since 1989. Fracking over 3 sites, 50 wells have been dug, Southland, Waikato and Taranaki. Taranaki is the only place where it's still being drilled. Let's look at what happens with fracking, some of the issues that are raised. You inject hydraulically water down into a well, you split the rock, and the gas comes up the other side, yeah? Well, some of the concerns are that maybe that water goes into groundwater, into our drinking water. It's a valid concern. So we say wells have to be in a certain place and you have to monitor all the way around the outside of the well. What about the water that comes up to the top of the well that brings the gas? That's generally not good water. We use best practice and we do deep well injection for that. Mud and stuff comes up as well. What we do is we land farm that. We put it as a slurry over the Taranaki farm. They turn it into pasture and they graze on it. Now that's important because last year, you may recall in the headlines,
Just to add to the information that Shane just gave you, fracking is the injection of millions of gallons of water and thousands of gallons of chemicals, including lead, uranium and hydrochloric acid, to release natural gas so that big companies from overseas can exploit it and make a lot of money from it. If anybody in this room here supports fracking, then how many national voters are there? Okay, so it's probably just Shane. So we all agree that fracking's a bummer. In terms of the whole toxic mining thing, the reason why it can't work in Puhi, as Calvin rightly pointed out, is because the rivers of Ngāti Hau flow right across the whole country. And so, while a lot of time for my whanaunga over here, it's not just about what Ngāti Hau can get out of it, and they're opposed to it anyway, it's what it means to the whole of our community. It's going to destroy our community. We must all look at it.